Port dredging in the Great Barrier Reef, progress or environmental destruction? When we think of infrastructure, we generally think about buildings, bridges and even roads. Not many stop and consider the infrastructure involved under sea level. There is, however, considerable infrastructure underwater that must be maintained and managed to support Australia's growing trading economy. We currently have 12 operating ports that run along the coastline of Queensland and also alongside the Great Barrier Reef. Of these 12 ports, there are currently 3 applications for expansions at Cairns, Townsville and Gladstone. These are needed to meet the increasing needs of the mining and resource sectors. Constant dredging of the ports is required for maintaining specific access and depths. Without this, the commercial ships would not be able to carry full loads, making importing and exporting much more costly. The safety concerns must also be considered, with grounding and oil spills a real issue without the maintenance dredging. So with all this information, the question must be asked: is this port dredging causing the environmental destruction of the Great Barrier Reef? The Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest coral reef. It comprises of over 3,000 individual reef systems and coral keys and contains a large and diverse range of marine life. Stretching over 2,300 kilometres along the coastline of Queensland, it is the largest living organism and can easily be seen from outer space. Dredging causes cloudy and murky water which can stay that way for up to a couple of weeks. It also creates dredge plumes or large runs of murky water that can extend out for kilometres, causing the available light needed for seagrasses and corals to grow to be diminished. Seagrass is an important feature for the Barrier Reef as it sustains a large number of animals including fish and dugongs. This is what I have learnt. The Great Barrier Reef covers 35 million hectares. 1/3 of the reef is highly protected. Some parts of the reef are near pristine, while others are showing the effects of centuries of human uses. Dredging is highly regulated with strict conditions such as not allowing the soils or sediments to be dumped on top of coral, seagrass or sensitive marine environments. The sediments and soils dredged are tested for any toxicity and made sure of its suitability for ocean disposal. The Australian Institute of Marine Science conducted an independent study that was published in 2014. This study stated that 2 primary factors have caused a very significant decline in coral cover and reef health over the past 30 years. The 2 factors mentioned were extreme weather such as storms and cyclones, and the other was the crown of thorns starfish. There was, however, no mention of port dredging. Why should you care? Without the extensive seagrass beds, the dugongs and the threatened loggerhead and green turtle will become extinct. The reef would no longer be a safe place for the humpback whale to migrate and give birth. As well as being the home and feeding grounds to numerous marine life, the Great Barrier Reef is worth approximately $5.4 billion to the Australian economy, with $3.5 billion of that going back to local towns and communities bordering the reef. More than 67,000 people are employed in jobs such as tourism, recreation and commercial fishing, and all of these professions depend on the health and vitality of the reef. What can you do? Encourage the banning of all offshore dumping or dredging in the World Heritage Area with no loopholes. Stop port expansions as well as extra ports. Dump soils and materials from dredging on land and not in the ocean. An alternative to dumping the dredge waste in the ocean is to use it as landfill as required building sites and structures. While it is found that dredging is not the main or even a large cause to the declining health of the reef, it is having an impact. And measures should be taken early to ensure the Great Barrier Reef remains one of the 7 wonders of the world for generations to come.